At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
Welcome in to Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app, Sirius XM Channel 375, and all of our great radio affiliates around the country. I'm Chris Bleck, joined by Sean Little today in for Abdalla. We're live from Chicago until 3 Eastern right here on Westwood One Sports. You can call or text the show at 310-840-4910. Sean, thanks for hanging out this week. Thanks for being here. And also, we have lots of news in the NBA already today with players opting in, players opting out. Free agency starts tomorrow at 6 Eastern. LeBron James news in the background. It's an exciting week to talk sports here on Westwood One.
News, rumors.
Yeah.
The NBA, the biggest soap opera we know. This is the male soap opera, Black. It's like we don't want to talk about it like that. The NBA in sports has a very big soap opera element to it, and we're in peak form right here with the NBA and LeBron James.
Before we jump into the specific details on what's taking place right now in the NBA, I do want to kind of throw out for anyone that's paying attention to the news that takes place over the next 24 hours. This, in my head, this is how it works. If you are a player who doesn't think that you're any good or you can't get more money, you opt in. If you're a player that knows your self-worth and know that on the free agent market you can cash in, you opt out. Is that a fair way to look at it? As we see earlier today, like DeAndre Ayton opting in, Zach LaVine opting in. Like, if you're a player that knows that you can get top dollar, you opt out. That's how it works in the NBA with free agency.
Well, since you brought up his name, Zach LaVine opted into that about 3 or 4 years ago. He might have opted that when he signed it on the dot. It was like, hey, I'm going to also opt in 2026, 2027, by the way. Yes. So, yes, if you feel like you're underpaid, yeah, you got to get out and try to test the market. And typically, guys, there's so much stuff happening, and ladies, in the NBA behind the scenes.
Yeah.
For example, Trae Young was a perfect example. Trae Young's not opting out of that without a deal right next to it.
Yeah.
Like, if there's no deal next to that, he's opting in. So you can kind of read between the tea leaves. For example, we'll get into Draymond and all the LeBron stuff, but Draymond opting out means something is happening.
Yep.
Something is going to come. They need to free up money, and they have an understanding that they're going to get some things done and Draymond's going to have to be at a different number for that to happen. So yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the news of the day at this moment in the NBA. Shams Charania on ESPN reporting Golden State Warriors forward Draymond Green is declining his $27.7 million player option to become a free agent, sources tell ESPN. This move now gives Golden State flexibility to pursue LeBron James in free agency and also try and trade for Anthony Davis from Washington to create a big four in Golden State. Shams also continues on with the opt-out comes days after the Warriors said they expect Green to pick up the $27.7 million option. Instead, Green delivers now Golden State time and space to go after Davis with the Wizards and then also try to convince LeBron James to join Steph Curry and Green and to try and form a championship team in the Bay. So that's the latest news at this moment around the NBA. I think Kevin O'Connor also reported yesterday that the grand plan for Golden State was to go after LeBron and to go after Anthony Davis. And Sean, here on the show, the Bleck Abdalla show, it's been a summer-long saga with LeBron James. We knew this was going to happen. It's the LeBron James free agency watch.
Who is he?
LeBron James.
Will he build another super team?
Got to start with Superman. Man, I could have used him on the Cavs.
How many weeks will he stretch this?
Not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5.
LeBron Watch 2026 with Bleck and Abdalla.
The answer to the question everybody wants to know. LeBron, what's your decision?
In this fall, I'm going to take my talents.
So, Sean, I mean, to this point, we thought that the only idea that would really make a lot of sense for LeBron James moving forward would be opting back in with the Lakers. I think the Lakers are a good team. With LeBron a part of that mix, getting Austin Reeves last week to re-sign to the max deal, you have Luka and what they have. I thought that was the logical landing place for LeBron James. And now we get this movement today. Draymond Green opting out. He's likely to re-sign with Golden State, but now gives them flexibility to try and wheel and deal. That player is going to have to be Jimmy Butler, if that's the case. And then to try and convince LeBron James to sign with a team that's built around Steph Curry, Anthony Davis, Draymond Green, and LeBron James.
In the NBA, a lot of this stuff is because the players have so much leverage, right, Bleck? So they're sitting around, hanging out, drinking red wine, like, hey, I think we could probably clip some of these young guys that we got together and made it happen. And then everyone is so interconnected, agency-wise, it's doable. So LeBron picks up the phone and talks to Draymond and say, hey, would you be willing to take a little less couple of dollars? They're both at Clutch. They're represented by Rich Paul.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
It's a quick little phone call. Hey, Jay,
okay. All right.
If you'd be willing to take a little extra money, maybe we could manufacture me getting over there. How much would you be willing to take?
Yeah.
Like I was getting at, Draymond Green opting out of that number. He's overpaid at that number for what he brings to the table right now for the Warriors and in the league.
No doubt.
So it's like, hey, I know that. You know that. Let's take a little less money. I'll come over. We'll try to get one more title run, and I get to play, and I don't have to leave Golden State. I could still be with Steph, and those guys highlight my strengths.
Sure.
So why not take a little less money? I get to hang out with LeBron. We'll be the talk of the league for the next 2 seasons, more than likely. So that's how all the stuff works. The New York Knicks' entire roster is CAA. That's how Jalen Brunson's able to take less money, because it's a lot easier, Bleck, for you to take less money if you know where those dollars are going actually.
Yep.
And that's all manufactured behind the scenes. Clutch Sports, CAA for the Knicks.
So, I mean, I could understand why the casual sports fan sees this and they're annoyed by it, right? Like Rich Paul is pulling the strings behind the scenes on how this is going to go down. With that said, you look at Golden State, like I understand why this is something that they would entertain. Does this necessarily get them past Denver or Houston or even if you look at a team like Like, I don't think this puts them on par with San Antonio or Oklahoma City. Like, they're going to be a good team. Like, I'm not trying to say that this collection of older stars is going to work, but we just you mentioned New York. We just entered an era over the course of like the last 5 or 6 seasons with teams that are put together with the star that they've drafted and like growing up and then adding around them, and they get that one championship. And then it's difficult to keep the teams together. So there are no real super teams anymore. And the teams that kind of chase stars, it just feels like all of this stuff doesn't quite fit into today's era of NBA. The Knicks, I feel like, are a different way of doing it. And maybe it is because your lead guy was willing to take less to then fit in not only players who are repped by the same agency, but also players that he's friends with, right? Like, it's not like they were just random guys thrown together. Josh Hart, Bridges, they played together at Villanova, together, right? Like so they're friends. They get along. Like I think it's fascinating, and I want to know what people think about this at 310-840-4910. Like, do you think that Golden State with LeBron James and Anthony Davis tacked on to what they have with Steph and Draymond, is that even a title contending team right now?
Let's talk about Anthony Davis, because this guy's name, and I love Anthony Davis, local guy, but like, let's be honest, he doesn't play. Last 3 years since he's moved, he split 2024, 2025 with Dallas and the Lakers, but we're talking 42 games, 9 games, 20 games.
Yeah.
Steph Curry, LeBron James are going to be the offense on that squad. Draymond Green, Anthony Davis, who will do a little bit of both, but are going to be the defensive linchpins of that whole operation. Anthony Davis needs to be on the floor for all this stuff to happen. Now, when we're talking about player opt-in and opt-out, Anthony Davis, 27-28, has a player option. That's the season after the one on the way here. He's already opted into that. He's not worth that number, but then he's unrestricted. So maybe he gets together, gets healthy, and then goes into the infamous contract year and shows up and shows that he's a first-team All-NBA guy again. Then it's a different story, but he's got to get on the floor and be healthy for this to even be a conversation, because defensively, we know where OKC and the Spurs are, and that's what they are trying to put themselves in position to compete against.
Yeah, and I think that's the larger conversation as we set up towards free agency tomorrow, 6 Eastern. It's going to be fascinating to see how teams, it does feel with the top 2 dogs in the West that everyone is trying to manipulate the cap, or they're trying to change what they have. Like, I don't see a lot of teams kind of sitting around and like doing what the Knicks did, where it's just run back the whole group. And then, like, let's just get better as a unit. And if we play our best basketball, we can win a title. I'm not really seeing that, at least from the rumors that are out there on what could take place. And I know we'll address it as we go through the show, but Jaylen Brown, will he get moved in the next 24 hours? Kawhi Leonard, that's a conversation. What's going on with the Clippers and Kawhi and where he'll land? So, like, it is interesting that Golden State, instead of trying to get younger to compete with these younger teams, they're going to rely on LeBron, who's 41. Anthony Davis, as you just laid out, is completely unreliable.
Yep.
He's a hell of a player when he's healthy. Really good player when he's healthy. But you can't rely on someone like that. And on top of it, Stephen Curry and Draymond Green at this point in their careers are not playing 82 games a season either. And so, like, that's where, you know, someone like Jimmy Butler coming off of the ACL injury, like, you know that he was injured last season, so the season didn't go the way that Golden State hoped. With that said, Butler does, when he is available, he does play. You know, like that's the thing, is you can't count on Anthony Davis ever. You know, like, he takes one tumble to the ground, he's out for 4 weeks. That's just the way he plays. And so, like, I do find it a little surprising that Golden State's approach is to double down on older stars.
So it's interesting because I agree, and I'm not sure over a 7-game, can those guys hold up? Did we see how physical San Antonio was? You see how physical Oklahoma City is on defense?
Yeah.
They just wear you out over a stretch, and that's where they become really tough to beat, and they're going to do nothing but get better offensively. Dylan Harper's going to do nothing but get better offensively. They're just going to be really, really good for a while, and the Spurs just played the tanking game the right way and got a few breaks and handled that perfectly, and now they are where they are, and they're going to be there for the next decade. I think the silver lining here for Warrior, the organization, for Steph, for LeBron, the fans, is that you could really go into the tax, pay all the money you need to pay additionally, and you could have a fresh, clean slate in 2027, 2028.
Yeah, that's fair.
Steph Curry's an unrestricted free agent 2027, 2028. You could almost get like a 2-year gap of like, let's give this a run. If it doesn't work, LeBron most likely retires. Steph most likely retires. He's going to be 38 this upcoming season. We know where LeBron is at. So if those guys give it one last couple years of run, and Bleck, I'm telling you, I've been in some of these dinners and conversations. It's legitimately like, hey, let's give it 2 years. It doesn't work. The legacy is solidified. We ride off into the sunset, and then that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's an added piece of the conversation we haven't addressed yet is what do sports fans think of LeBron? Like, do you qualify if he moves to Golden State as, quote, chasing a championship? I don't think you can. Like, here's the hot take, right? You can't because this team didn't even make the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
It would be chasing a championship if LeBron was joining New York or San Antonio or Oklahoma City.
Sure.
You're going to a team that has struggled. And I know in the last couple of years, like, it is definitely feast or famine, right? Like, Golden State is either won a championship or they're out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's kind of what's, like, really bizarre about the Stephen Curry career run. You know, you look at other all-time greats that play for a long time with one team. You know, like Tim Duncan was just always in the playoffs. Maybe not always winning championships, but always there. Dirk Nowitzki, always in the playoffs type of thing. The fact that Golden State has missed the playoffs as many times as they have.
A lot of play-in looks as well.
A lot of play-in looks, which a couple of those getting through is based on the grace of the league expanding the nonsensical play-in situation. So, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's what's, like, wild about the conversation as well, is that I don't think that this counts as chasing a championship. I think if LeBron goes to Golden State, I mean, they're a team that missed the playoffs last year.
Yeah, Butler blows the ACL. That kind of killed the season or any even thoughts of them doing anything in the West for Golden State. When he went down, that was kind of it. Wrap it up. Steph still played at an insanely high level and was really, really good. Chasing it, that's a really good question because I don't think it's chasing, but you're trying your best to, play with your friends and also compete for a title. For me, when LeBron went to the Lakers, I think he was comfortable with where his legacy was. If they didn't get the bubble ring in 2020, he was going to be okay with not getting a ring. I think it was more about the family going out to LA, the lifestyle that he wanted to live,
for sure,
was the main force of him going out to LA. So I think after he got that 3-1 comeback against the Golden State Warriors, he was solidified, done, stamped. He was happy. And all the rest of this stuff, I think, is very much icing for LeBron James.
I mean, if we just go back to 2020, the Warriors missed the playoffs in 2020, missed the playoffs in 2021. They won the finals in 22. They lost in the conference semis in 23. 24, missed the playoffs. Lost in the conference semis in 25. Missed the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
Like, that's wild. And I know a lot of it is because Stephen Curry was injured. But
Clay injured a bunch as well.
It's just one of those things, like, you usually don't see that in the NBA. Usually, like, the all-time greats, they're at least in the playoffs. And to miss the playoffs 4 different times in the last 6 years is pretty incredible. It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Sean Little in for Abdalla today. We go to Bill in Toronto. You're on with Bleck Abdalla. What's up, Bill?
Hey, guys, listen, to put it bluntly, I'm getting sick of the NBA. I mean, did the New York Knicks just not win the championship a week ago or 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Who cares about these guys? all they do is jump teams. Do we ever have guys that stayed back in the day like Magic Johnson or Larry Bird or Michael Jordan? What is this jumping back and forth and we're going to have a super team? Here's a news flash for you. LeBron James, you're what was. You were great. You're not great anymore. You're very good, but you're not great. The other guy, what's his nickname? Street Clothes? He never plays. Why is this a topic? We're in the middle of baseball season right now. Where's the baseball talk? I don't want to hear about the NBA until the NBA season's ready to start. That's it, guys.
All right. There he is. There's Bill in Toronto with a call from 10 years ago talking about stars joining and super teams and all of that. Because really, if you're paying attention to the NBA, the last couple of years, that's not been the case. You know, like the super teams or those stars that Bill is talking about jumping to other teams, it hasn't really worked. Like Durant's the perfect example. Every single, like Durant changes teams like fashion. Every season there's a new team. Like every season there's a new fashion, right? And Durant's on a new squad almost every single year. He'll be back this upcoming year with Houston. We'll see if they can get it done. But it's surprising to me how many different stops Kevin Durant has had throughout his career. And it does feel like the NBA has entered a new era where the stars don't really change teams all that much. And quite honestly, conversations like this in the summer have been less interesting the last couple of seasons because the league is what it is.
Bleck, I would bet my life Bill was born in the late 70s, early 80s.
Oh,
there couldn't be enough money I could bet on that. I love it, Bill.
There's no problem with that.
Bill's not here for the pageantry. He's not here for superlative conversations, just guessing. Because that's a lot of what this is, right? And it's a lot of backroom dealings, and then they try to pawn it off to us as things that magically came together and were bending the rules when really it was all nefariously done in one way, shape, or form. Shout out, Bill. I love that call. I partly agree with what he's saying.
Hey, Bill's a man. I appreciate his thoughts. The problem with his opinion on the baseball is that the NBA is just more interesting at this time of year.
Without question.
And so we'll cover the baseball. The baseball will be covered as we enter the playoff races and all the different discussions.
Bill, in the baseball locker room right now, they're talking about LeBron, Bill.
Yeah, they are.
They're talking about where's LeBron going to go?
Sean Little in for Abdalla this week, hanging out. It's Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Could Kawhi Leonard head back to Toronto? Another basketball topic. My question on this one is this. Can you still win a championship with Kawhi as your best player? We'll talk about that coming up next. The second round of international soccer is now, and DraftKings has you covered with every single match. The DraftKings app is now available in all 50 states and includes all markets, bringing the game straight to your fingertips wherever you are. New DraftKings customers sign up with code BNA26, spend $5 to get $200 in rewards within 21 days. That's code BNA26 for Bleck and Abdalla 26. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Bet with DK Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER, 1-800-MY-RESET. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777. Visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, bet tax pass through may apply in Illinois. 21 plus, void in Canada. Event contract trading with DraftKings. Predictions involve risks of loss. Availability varies. Bet to get bonus bets that expire in 7 days. Trade to get $50 in prediction dollars that expire in 1 year. Issued every 7 days via click to claim for 21 days. One non-withdrawable reward redeemable. Predictions offer void in New York. Ends July 19th. Terms at dkng.co/audio.
NFL training camps open in 1 month. Yes, you're allowed to get excited.
All going through it together. Let's go.
It's almost time to pull that jersey out of the back of your closet. Here we go. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
Sean Little is in hanging out with me this week in for Abdalla. Chris Bleck, Sean Little with you here on Westwood One Sports. So there's been lots of reports over the last couple days about Kawhi Leonard. It started up over the weekend that Kawhi could possibly be on the move. The only team that he'd be willing to sign with long term would be Toronto. And so those talks, and I think we briefly mentioned it on Friday's show, talking about that. That's out there. that Kawhi Leonard may be on the move. Here's Shams Charania earlier today on ESPN television talking about the Clippers and the Raptors talking a Kawhi trade.
The Clippers and the Raptors are seriously engaged in trade talks surrounding Kawhi Leonard going back to Toronto. Ooh. At the crux of this is the Clippers are moving in a younger direction, and Kawhi has 1 year left on his deal at about $50 million. And my understanding is Toronto is the only place he would commit to on a long-term extension if traded outside of Los Angeles. This gives him a ton of leverage in the marketplace. We know when he got traded from the Spurs to the Raptors back in 2018, he said, listen, I'm only going to play 1 year and 1 year only, and then I'm out. Yeah. And that's exactly what happened. He led them to a championship. Mm-hmm. He won Finals MVP that year in 2019. Then he spent the last 6-7 years with the Clippers. These conversations will continue all day today, potentially throughout the rest of the week, and we'll see if a deal comes to fruition.
All right. Shams Charania on ESPN television. Could we get a Kawhi Leonard deal at some point today? Yeah, it's possible. I would say this, Sean. When you look at the landscape of the NBA, can you win a championship in 2027 with Kawhi Leonard being your best player on a squad?
Yeah, I think so. He was phenomenal last year. And
yeah,
he has been for a stretch on the, I guess, the back end of his career. If you build, you could still build around Kawhi. Now, the question is, because you're going to have to give up some pieces to get him to the Raptors, Brandon Ingram, probably a couple picks. But if you remember, Toronto was tough last year. They're in the playoff. They're making noise. Kawhi is a guy that could potentially get them in that Eastern Conference Finals conversation, especially because we don't know what's going to happen with Jaylen Brown and the Celtics. Are the Knicks going to be a little too fed, happy, and jovial this summer to show up and put together another real deal run? We'll see what happens there. But that's the thing about the East and the West. To go back to your point on the Warriors, the West has been so tough throughout Steph Curry's career that, I mean, Clay goes down, they're just not going to make the playoffs because everyone else is so tough, right? Think about the Eastern side. to a point where we were competing, we were in the playoffs, and we came up short against Philadelphia. That's my guy. We need him in a Boston Celtics jersey to win. I enjoy playing with him. Bleck, if Abdalla was getting run through the mud everywhere you went, you'd be like, no, that's my guy. I enjoy
stick up
working
for him.
Exactly.
Yes.
Why haven't we heard from Jason Tatum at all?
Oh, he would prefer separation, perhaps.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Sometimes
absolutely.
not saying something says it all. And for this Jaylen Brown, Boston Celtics situation is very, very interesting to me because I think he gets a lot of slander. I've never seen a Finals MVP get this much slander ever, I don't think, in the NBA. Like, he
brings it on himself, though.
Yeah, he does, but he's bullheaded about a lot of the stuff that he says and how he goes about his business.
Argue with your grandma.
Yeah, he wants you to argue with your grandma.
And he wants
argue
to
with your grandma.
And he wants to, he's not afraid of the political side, and he'll come out and say what he thinks and all that. But man, at the end of the day, this is about winning basketball games, and that dude impacts that tremendously. And we wrote off coming into the year, it was the Boston Celtics. They were dumping salary, and he was out there running around with Baylor Scheim. People didn't know who Baylor Scheim was until last year. Like, they were going to write off the whole year, and he put the city on his back and got them to the point where going into the playoffs, they were the favorites to come out of the East. Like, that was Jaylen Brown. So the conversation of him saying on the stream of this was my favorite year ever, you could bend and twist that up. And he was just saying, hey, man, coming into the year, I didn't have expectations. I was proud of myself for taking my game to that next level and being able to bring the guys with me. That was more of what I pulled from it. But when you start getting on the internet, you could twist it up a lot of different ways.
You can't say it the way he said it.
Yeah, I agree.
He essentially doubled down on it too. It was like, no, that was my favorite season. It's like, okay,
my people know what I meant when I said that.
Yeah. like, dude, you are pulling a Scottie Pippen.
Yeah.
That's what you're pulling now. Like that's what it is. You want your own team. Sean Little in for Abdalla today. It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports, sponsored by Progressive Commercial Insurance, protecting small businesses with affordable coverage options. Quote today at progressivecommercial.com. It's summer. We're enjoying the warm weather around the country, and we are also thinking about football as we count down the days until the start of training camp. We have 32 questions in 32 days. Today's question is around the Cleveland Browns, and we'll do that next.
Group play. Up next, the round of 32 on Wednesday. How far can they go? Let's find out. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
Sean Little in for Abdalla today, hanging out with you. Beautiful Monday. Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app as we continue to count down the days until training camp in the NFL. It's now time for 32 questions in 32 days.
32 questions in 32 days. Bleck and Abdalla discuss every NFL team's biggest question heading into training camp. Today's team, the Cleveland Browns.
Sanders, well protected, and there's Jerry Jeudy, and he's off, and into the end zone, touchdown Cleveland.
Today's question, will Deshaun Watson or Shedeur Sanders win the QB battle?
32 questions in 32 days. The Cleveland Browns are the focus today here on Bleck and Abdalla. Quarterback controversy is the story in Cleveland this summer. New head coach Todd Monken is,
So I was just trying to get a sweet haircut.
Yeah, he missed the team photo at the coaches' meetings in the offseason because he was getting a haircut.
So I was just trying to get a sweet haircut.
Yeah, sweet haircut from Todd Monken. Sean, when we look at this situation, Deshaun Watson, Shedeur Sanders, who will be the starting quarterback when we get to the season, when we get to the opener?
It's a hell of a couple options, huh?
Yeah, well, it's not the best.
Those are some tough choices, huh?
Yeah.
What do you want to eat for dinner tonight? It's like, I don't know. Maybe I'll skip it. I'm not sure. Listen, Shedeur started 7 games last year. He's a young guy. We have to give some grace here. If you turn the clock back 3 years, Shedeur Sanders was playing at Jackson State University.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? I think if you saw anything out of Shedeur that you liked last year, you got to just try to give him a little bit of runway. I know as the years go on, the leash gets shorter and shorter. You can go back and find asinine things said about Caleb Williams in his first year when he was legitimately out there by himself trying to make things happen out of thin air.
Yeah.
So, like, you practice your patience in these spots. I'm going to tell you this. I'm not at Cleveland Browns training camp and seeing Deshaun Watson and Shedeur throw. I would completely wipe my hands with the Deshaun Watson situation. However much of money that would cost me, it's a sunken figure. Move on from that. I would give Shedeur Sanders additional time and look. He started 7 games. It was a rocky year last year for the Browns. Now he's in a new system. I think he deserves an additional look, and that's the direction I would go.
You know, it's a fair way to look at a young player having time to develop and kind of giving that player the ability to kind of turn into something more. The only difference I would say is that in comparison to like someone like Caleb Williams or any of the young quarterbacks who've come out the last couple of years, Cam Ward, Drake May, Bo Nix even, Shedeur Sanders wasn't that in college.
Right.
So, like, it was a bit of a stretch. Like, it's great that he made a roster, but if you go back to the draft that he was in, the only one that was saying that he was a number 1 first-round pick or a second-round pick, it was Shedeur Sanders. Like, no one in the NFL thought he was worth wasting a top 3-round pick for the player. Now, he has clearly, in Cleveland, beat out Dylan Gabriel, who was drafted ahead of him on the depth chart.
And played first.
I'm guessing the way this will go is that Deshaun Watson will be the starting quarterback just because of the money that's owed to him. And they will allow Deshaun Watson to either find what he had years ago and become something that we haven't seen in like 6 seasons, which I'm guessing is gone, with a new head coach, a offensive-minded head coach, or like they're going to do that first, and then they will go to Shedeur because they have time. They have the time on their side with Shedeur Sanders.
I just want to remind you, Bleck, you only gave me 2 options. Those are the 2.
Yes, I did.
There's not much wiggle room in there.
Well, Big Voice gave us the 2 options.
Yes, correct.
Big Voice gave us the 2 options. So
Cleveland gave us the 2 options, really.
Yes.
So
yeah, I mean, neither are good.
Yes.
Neither are a good situation. It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. So there you go. 32 questions in 32 days. The Cleveland Browns, who will start, Deshaun Watson or Shedeur Sanders? I think it will be Deshaun Watson, but we will see as training camp's just right around the corner. Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. I want to talk about the World Cup. Which cities in America are supporting the World Cup the most this go-around? I'm going to give you that list coming up next. It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports.
This is Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
That's right, Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app, SiriusXM channel 375, all of our great radio affiliates around the country. I'm Chris Bleck, joined by Sean Little today, in for Abdalla. We're both live from Chicago until 3 Eastern, hanging out with you. You can call or text the show at 310-840-4910. Talk a little World Cup soccer in just a second. The Top news of the day, though, Golden State, they are essentially trying to line things up to try and chase LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Earlier today, Draymond Green declined his player option. He becomes a free agent with the intent on re-signing with the Warriors, which frees up some cap space that now Golden State can go after LeBron James. They can try and make a trade for Anthony Davis. That's the big news. I think everyone on the sports landscape is waiting to see if and when that comes through in the next 24 hours.
Absolutely. LeBron James watch, some may say.
Yep.
Disgruntled? I had to get that in there, Black. It's my favorite. It's my favorite sports term is the disgruntled
star.
Disgruntled star. Does he want to get out of L.A.? He's playing golf all summer long.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hell of a life.
It's big news. LeBron James is still that guy. He's still a needle mover. He still impacts enough on the floor that this is a big deal. And him and Steph Curry throughout the years have always, there's always been rumblings that they want to play together. And we're in the twilight of LeBron James. LeBron James clearly is comfortable with his legacy where he's at and is just trying to enjoy himself. And when you're on that level, enjoy. This is the thing about like being on the level of LeBron James. Him enjoying himself is impacting us. And he's like, I just want to play with Steph and go play ball and hang out, right? Like, and then we're all breaking it down and analyzing it. Meanwhile, they're like laughing and joking, like, let's go play some ball and see if we can beat San Antonio in the Western Conference.
So that's the top story that we're keeping our eyes on. We also have the World Cup, day 2 of the knockout round underway. Brazil and Japan, I think they're in the 3rd minute of that match. So there's 3 matches today. So Brazil and Japan at 4:30 Eastern, Germany and Paraguay face off. And then at 9 o'clock Eastern this evening, the Netherlands takes on Morocco. So we have 3 knockout stage matches today. You were at a World Cup match this weekend.
Yes, Vancouver. I was there for my bachelor party. Shout out on my guys for coming through. It was awesome.
Was it? That's great.
We went and saw Belgium versus New Zealand on Friday night at BC Place, I believe that's what it's called.
Yeah.
The arena. The Whitecaps play there in the MLS. Vancouver, beautiful city, beautiful host. A lot of activity, a lot of action. Canada crossed up yesterday and played their round of 32 match. So we were still out there for that. But the atmosphere surrounding the World Cup, being in the building for a match, seeing the people there from their country, they're unveiling the flags.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Is it disrespectful because Bleck, of course, I had a couple beverages and I was rooting for Belgium and they did the national anthem.
Did you boo?
No, of course not. Of course not. Of course not.
All right.
And the Belgium national anthem came up and they do it like karaoke style. And I tried to like sing along.
Yeah.
But obviously I'm butchering it, right? Is that questionable? Because like half the group was like, I don't know if we should be doing this. But we were trying to, like, we're in Belgium stuff, right? We're trying to show.
Oh, you were having the gear. You had the gear on. Okay, yeah.
We had a couple dollars on them as well.
Sure,
so,
of course.
we were all in on Belgium.
Yeah, I mean, DraftKings, BNA 26, get on it, of course.
There you go. So is that disrespectful? I don't know.
No, because like the whole thing at the World Cup is that everyone is singing along the anthems. Because I've thought this throughout the matches that I've watched. You see the players lined up, and while they are singing the national anthem, there's always the TV footage panning from one side to the other of the starting
11
players, the starting 11 for each squad. And usually when their home country the anthem is playing, all of the players are singing along too. And I thought to myself, watching this as I did for the last couple of weeks, every single time I see this, I think to myself, I don't know if I know all the words to our national anthem. Like, if I were in that spot, I think I would be moving my mouth and like getting some of the words, but I don't think I could do the whole thing. Like, it is probably what I would have to imagine in the Rolodex of my mind. It's the song I've listened to first or second most times in my life. It's got to be that or Happy Birthday, right? Like, for most Americans, don't you think that?
What did we
especially
sing in school back in the day? Do they still do that? Every morning we had to do the start.
No, it was probably like America the Beautiful.
America the Beautiful.
That was probably
the
song
morning.
you sang
They still do
at
that?
school. I don't know. I have no idea.
Good question.
No, you're right, but like if you thought, Sean, if you were like, if I had to be honest with the songs I've listened to the most in my life, I'm guessing if you're a sports fan like you and I, Star Spangled Banner is probably in the conversation because before every sporting event in this country, you hear it, right? So if you're attending games, if you're watching the starting lineups, it's a song that you've heard a lot. I don't know if I could stand there with the camera on me and get 100% on the words to the Star Spangled Banner. I definitely can't.
No prep.
Like I don't think I could get past like the first few words. I don't know. I don't have faith in myself on that.
I think if we were on the national team playing every day, we better be able to do it.
I get, but like, is that a prereq? And that's something that I was thinking to myself, like Weston McKinney. Does like Weston McKinney have to think to himself, like, oh yeah, what's this? Because I'm going to be on camera.
Yeah,
like they're thinking of other things. They're thinking of Bosnia. That's what they're thinking about. All right, so I wanted to get to this. What are the top markets around the country that are supporting the World Cup? So Fox released this yesterday. So at the midway point of the tournament, the overall games being played for the tournament, here are the top local cities and TV markets watching the World Cup this go around. Number 10, St. Louis. Number 9, Washington, D.C. Number 8, Richmond, Virginia. Number 7, Atlanta. Number 6, San Francisco. Number 5, San Diego. Number 4, Dallas. Number 3, Austin. Number 2, Boston. And number 1, Kansas City. Those are the top TV markets in the country watching the World Cup halfway through the tournament.
Wow. That's
interesting, right?
That's very interesting. Yeah, it's like hearing Richmond being on there. I know it's been bonkers down in Texas. And, of course, the demographics down there help a little bit there. But the game at Jerry's World have been awesome. A lot of people think that's where the final should be either potentially Dallas or L.A. instead of New York, New Jersey, or whatever they're calling it, over there, New York, New Jersey, MetLife. But, yeah, those are some interesting spots. Kansas City, I guess a lot of soccer fans down there. No Chicago, I am surprised. I guess
you
they're
don't
not
have
local, so
any of the 3 major markets, New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, are not there. I do understand to some extent, I guess, although all 3 have MLS support because like that, I think that's something that you can look at, right? Like Kansas City is a great Major League Soccer town. Yeah. You see some of the other spots like Atlanta. Atlanta has great support for Major League Soccer. You also have cities like St. Louis. There's no NFL. There's no NBA, right? They got baseball, the Cardinals, baseball. Same with San Diego. They just have baseball now. So I understand the support in cities like that. I think it's pretty cool that Boston is number 2.
Yeah.
Boston's a heavy hitter. And then they're all about it. Same with San Francisco, Dallas. So, yeah, it's pretty. It's a pretty good list.
A vast majority of the list, though, are hosting, right? So I think when you get that local buzz, like, for example, to go back to when I was in Vancouver, I mean, every corner you turned, there's a World Cup banner or a flag or a soccer ball blown up on the street or a soccer player with the fans. There's some type of activation going on everywhere we turned in Vancouver. And that's probably one of the smaller cities in, the United States and Mexico that are hosting. So it was a big deal. There was a lot of people, a lot of energy around it. So I think if you did get that little bit of a local buzz, I think it promotes you to turn on the TV and maybe watch a game or two that you wouldn't have otherwise.
I'm with you on that. From the list of 10, correct me if I'm wrong, San Diego not hosting a match.
No.
Richmond, Virginia not hosting.
Of course not.
D.C., there's no match in D.C., right?
No match in D.C. But you know how that East Coast conglomerate, it's like all right. Everything is right there.
As a Chicagoan, are you painting everyone on the East Coast as one blob?
Well, I mean,
is that what you're doing? Are you outing us here in Chicago that's the way that we view them on the East Coast?
I'll speak for myself. When I first moved out to New York City, I didn't realize how
Everything's like an hour and a half away from each other.
Exactly. So I think that's a little bit of bleed from DC, maybe.
Sure. It's like if you're in New York, it's viewing Chicago and Milwaukee.
Correct.
Milwaukee's about an hour away from Chicago. It's all the same kind of general area. But I agree. As someone who grew up in the Midwest, I was also surprised the first time I went to New York or Philadelphia. And it was like you look on the maps and you're like, oh, I could get to New York City in that amount of time. Really?
DC, Baltimore.
Like in the Midwest, in Chicago, if I want to go to Detroit, that's a weekend trip.
Yeah.
If I want to, we're not doing a day trip. This is a weekend. That's 5.5 hours to get to Detroit from here. Or St. Louis.
My first gig, I had a guy that was commuting from Philadelphia to New York for work every day. That's how close it is.
Yeah, exactly. And hell, I watch on social media, there's people that make a day in the life and they're super commuters. And I've watched videos of people that work in Manhattan and they live way out, hours out, and they're taking a train to a bus to walking to get to their spot in downtown New York City. I mean, it's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, when you look at the list, St. Louis, there's no games there. So it is it's a mix because the big cities that are hosting, Kansas City, Boston, Dallas, San Francisco, Atlanta, I get why people are tuned in and jazzed up there because the activations are there. The
city has taken over.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like when we were in Vancouver. It was like, this is a World Cup city. And it's just everywhere you went, it was World Cup.
All right. So since you were at a game in person, what did you make of the hydration breaks?
I mean, I took one myself. So it worked out.
Yes.
I sincerely, it was very much like, okay, this is a great time to run up and grab a beverage and come back down and not miss any action.
Okay,
so,
all right.
I mean, it works. I don't like them per se because I think this is when you start to tinker with the structure Tinker with the structure. Tinker with the structure.
It's all good.
Tinker with the structure of the actual sport.
Yes.
It's been 45-minute halves straight running clock for 200 years.
Yeah.
And now we show up in the World Cup and we're chopping it up in the 4 quarters. I don't necessarily like that, but for a fan viewing, being in the building, it was no issue.
If you watched, it was Colombia and Portugal. I think it was on Saturday night. The game was in Miami. That game needed hydration breaks. Yeah. It was hot. It was clearly the conditions. You needed to have those in the match. If you're inside at some of these locations, like in Dallas or various places, right, like SoFi, you don't need them. But as Sean said, he was there and he didn't mind it watching, and that's coming from someone who watches soccer. Yeah. You're wearing an Arsenal kit right now.
Yeah, I'm a big soccer fan. Yes.
I do feel like there's been a lot of pushback on that as the World Cup has gone. So the U.S., they play on Wednesday night. We can't wait for this match. It's going to be great. Round of 32. Can the team move on, advance farther than we've ever seen before? You do have in the background perhaps Belgium lurking, perhaps Spain lurking. But first up is Bosnia. Now, I saw this over the weekend. If we go to Los Angeles, ABC 7, Abigail Velez, she has this report on the U.S. and Bosnia.
Okay, the next round, Team USA will play Bosnia next Wednesday. And one thing about Bosnia, I could not point out where it is on a map. I don't know the first thing about Bosnia, and I don't want to know. That's because Team USA, we're back, we're better than ever. That's next Wednesday. Get prepared, Bosnia, because you don't want it. You don't want it like that. But you're going to get it. That's next Wednesday. We're now reporting live in Long Beach. Abigail Velez, ABC 7.
There you go, Abigail Velez. ABC 7.
And one thing about Bosnia, I could not point out where it is on a map.
Okay, yes.
You don't want it. You don't want it like that.
You don't want it like that, Sean. Smack talk from a reporter in Los Angeles covering the World Cup. Now, I do need to explain to the listener. She is not a sports reporter. She is doing a feature on the World Cup excitement, right? SoFi's hosting games. The U.S. is going to play on Wednesday night. It's all good. I feel like now also, as the story has developed, she had to issue an apology for the smack talk to Bosnia.
And one thing about Bosnia, I could not point out where it is on a map.
She had to apologize for her report, which I think is kind of weak and lame. Hey, it wasn't really that offensive. I think the problem with the report, Sean, is like, if she was doing what we were doing, you can do that, right? You're just giving opinion and personality and joking about something. But when you're on TV, ABC 7 Los Angeles, giving a report on the match, I don't know if you can really go, you can turn it into a comedy bit.
Yeah, let's go to the site and talk about Bosnia, USA. It's like, I don't know where it is.
I don't know where it is.
USA.
Go America.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think overall, I think the big wigs sitting upstairs from where we're sitting right now, the suits are going to say, hey, man, just do us a little favor and go apologize for what you said about that, and we'll just keep it moving. I agree with you. I don't think it was that big of a deal that she had to put out a written apology and make a statement, but it is what it is. And sometimes, if you've never been in this business, sometimes you just kind of panic. It's live, and she's just trying to show that she's excited about the USA, and she didn't. And then once it started, once she said, I don't know where it is on the map, then it's like, now she's just trying to fill the next 10, 30 seconds. And it's like, but they don't want it anyway. You know what I mean? So it starts to get out of control. So
you don't want it. You don't want it like that.
Like
what? What does that mean?
Yeah, she panicked. That's at the end of the day, she panicked, and that's what we got.
Well, like I think it's great. I think it's hilarious because like she also, I'm guessing there's a lot of people in this country who probably thought the same thing. Yeah, I'm guessing.
Get familiar though. The Baltic area, man, great people, great region to visit. Montenegro, Bosnia, all that over there. The Baltic, Croatia.
They're also not a pushover team.
No, that whole area. Are you crazy?
Yeah,
they're hard nosed.
That's what I'm saying. Like she can do the smack talk in the report, but like it's not a guarantee that the U.S. wins Wednesday night.
Absolutely not. They haven't been tested whatsoever to start the tournament, and I think that's where it gets interesting with this expanded field that we talked about. Ugh. Now it's almost, for me, in my eyes, this is like the tournament starting right now.
Yeah,
like these are the real teams that actually have a shot and can compete. I love letting, I guess, additional squads in for just the pageantry. It's all backed by additional dollars, though, being generated. So that's all, there's a flip side to that coin as well. But it was also awesome to see, like, Carousel fans and those guys being excited and being jacked up to play in the tournament.
Or who was one of the last teams that got in that was such a surprise from Saturday? There was a match that ended in was the Congo, right?
Yeah,
they
Congo DR plays England. Yeah,
they were one of the last ones to get in, and like,
it's awesome.
Surprising. It's cool. Like that stuff is cool. I just think for the entire group stage, if you're not a true diehard soccer fan, the matches lacked a little, right? Like there were very few big time matches that were worth really sinking your teeth into in the knockout in the group stage, because you had 32 teams make it. So that meant top 2 teams from every group. There's 12 groups. And then there were 8 extra wild card teams that made it. And by the fact of 8 of the 12 third place teams getting in, it really changed the dynamic of like figuring out who's getting through to the knockout stage out of the groups. I feel like in the past we had more drama because there were less teams getting to that point. It was only 2 per group. So as we head towards Wednesday night and the U.S. men's national team playing, I believe it's 8 Eastern is the start time for the match on Wednesday night. It will be the first time ever that the U.S. men's national team will be playing a knockout stage game in prime time in this country. They've never done that.
Wow.
You can go back to they made it to the round of 16 in 1994. They faced off against Brazil in that match.
Tape delay?
That was it was a Monday, but the match started at 3:30 in the afternoon. They got to the quarterfinal in Korea, Japan in 2002. That game, because it was overseas, kicked off at 7:30 a.m. Eastern on a Friday. So, that's obviously the biggest match that they've had in the last 40 years, and that was on in the morning on the East Coast. Round of 16 match when they were in South Africa, that was at 2:30 in the afternoon, and so on and so forth. So this is the first time, 8 Eastern, the U.S. men's national team will play a knockout stage game in primetime in this country for TV viewing audiences. So it's going to be pretty cool come Wednesday night.
And they're expected to win.
They are expected to win, and hopefully they go on a long run here in the World Cup. It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Sean Little filling in for Abdalla today. Coming up next, we will go one-on-one with Raj. Where's the best landing spot for LeBron, the Warriors or the Heat? Interesting. We'll talk about that coming up next. The second round of international soccer is now, and DraftKings has you covered every single match. The DraftKings app is now available in all 50 states and includes all markets, bringing the game straight to your fingertips wherever you are. New DraftKings customers sign up with code BNA26, spend $5 to get $200 in rewards within 21 days. That's code BNA26 for Bleck and Abdalla 26. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Bet with DK Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER, 1-800-MY-RESET. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777. Visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, bet tax pass through may apply in Illinois. 21 plus, void in Canada. Event contract trading with DraftKings. Predictions involve risks of loss. Availability varies. Bet to get bonus bets that expire in 7 days. Trade to get $50 in prediction dollars that expire in 1 year. Issued every 7 days via click to claim for 21 days. One non-withdrawable reward redeemable. Predictions offer void in New York. Ends July 19th. Terms at dkng.co/audio.
NFL training camps open in 1 month. Yes, you're allowed to get excited.
All going through it together. Let's go.
It's almost time to pull that jersey out of the back of your closet. Here we go. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
That's right, Bleck and Abdalla hanging out with you live from Chicago. Sean Little is in for Abdalla this week, hanging out, talking sports with you here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. We now go on out to parts unknown in Colorado, and that's where we find Raj Sharon.
Yep. And the next question comes from the line of Raj Sharan with Westwood One. Please proceed.
Please proceed. It's a Monday. It's now time to go one-on-one with Raj. What's up, Raj?
What's up, Chris? What's up, Sean? Time to go one-on-one. We got a lot to get to, so we're going to get right into it.
Let's do it.
We've talked a lot about this whole LeBron James Warriors thing, but over the weekend, there was some buzz of him maybe taking his talents back to South Beach to team up with Giannis Antetokounmpo and with Bam. So I ask you guys, what's the actual better spot for LeBron amongst these two? We'll start with you, Sean. The better spot for LeBron James between these two choices, don't nowhere else. Going to the Warriors and making the big four, I guess, old four, whatever you want to call it, or going back to Miami and teaming up with Giannis and Bam. Of those two, what's the better spot for LeBron, Sean?
Golden State, no question. Giannis is not a guy to share the spotlight and is not interested in it. And if he went down there, I think that would be very difficult to navigate. The on the floor and off the floor, I think mixes better in Golden State. And it's been talked about for years. Steph and LeBron love playing together. They love that Olympic run. Golden State, number one, no doubt.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with Sean there. I think it's Golden State as well. I know why Raj is saying you can't add anyone else to the conversation, because I was going to, as Raj was starting to give us the options.
I got out in front of you. Front of you.
I was going to do he should go to Los Angeles with the Lakers. I think if he sticks with the Lakers, that's the best opportunity for him to win, because I don't think this crew of old dogs getting together in the Bay, I just don't. Like, I would love for Steph Curry to win another title. He's one of my favorite players just in NBA history. Like, I just really enjoy watching Stephen Curry play basketball, but I just don't see it. I agree. Of the two options, Golden State's better than Miami. But I think basketball-wise, the best option would be Los Angeles. Sorry, Raj, I had to sneak that in.
I knew you were going to do that, you sneaky Chris Black. All right, well, let's see how you sneak around this one. All right, Jaylen Brown, we talked about him earlier. We know he's potentially on the move from Boston. What should the Celtics prioritize? We're hearing a lot about Portland because they have draft picks to offer. We're hearing a lot about Charlotte because they have draft picks to offer. But then you got like my Nuggets that don't really have draft picks. They got established players that they can offer. So I ask you, Bleck, Brad Stevens and the Celtics should prioritize picks or players when they decide to make this Jaylen Brown trade? What's more important? I know they want both, but which one's more important? The picks or the players?
If I were handling the Boston Celtics and I was looking for the health of the organization, I would look for picks, because that would then allow me to sustain success over a longer period of time than perhaps going with the Denver option and getting someone like Jamal Murray back, which would make Boston a very dangerous team in the Eastern Conference. He is a star-level player, big-time star-level player who's proven it in the finals, in the playoffs, in the past. So he is a great option, but I would be willing to concede that we're not the favorite in the East this upcoming season, knowing that I have 4 first-round picks in my pocket for the future. I mean, I would imagine that's worked pretty well for Sam Presti the last few years, right? Like, each year comes around and Oklahoma City has a new first-round pick that they collected somewhere else through trades, and they draft well, so they're stacked as a lineup, and they have top picks. So I'm trying to be conservative with my approach here, and I would go with picks.
I disagree with you. I think it's time to win now. I think there's a window here in the East where we don't know who is the top dog. Even though the Knicks are still going to be in the mix, I feel like a lot of people think they are still beatable as presently constructed. They're going to lose Mitch Robinson most likely. They're going to lose a couple key guys because Dolan said he doesn't want to pay the tax, which is a whole nother 3-hour show on why you wouldn't pay the tax, because you're coming off a title and this is when you pay the tax, but that's all another conversation. I think it's players because you have to backfill the production that Jaylen Brown brings. You have to figure out a way to get guys that can score, make things happen, soak up usage that'll handle the ball and are willing to take shots. So I'm going to say players because Tatum's not getting any younger. Boston and that fan base wants to win and compete now. I think you can't stockpile picks for Jaylen Brown. I think you need to get guys that can backfill the production and put you in a win-now situation.
All right, Sean, the other of the 3 names we've talked a lot about today is Kawhi Leonard. If Kawhi winds up going back to Toronto, as it looks like it's going to happen, the Raptors are or are not a contender in the East, adding Kawhi Leonard.
I think they are a contender in the East. When we start talking about defensively, him and Scotty Barnes, when Kawhi actually still wants to lock in and play D, and he doesn't have to do all the offensive weightlifting that he did with the Clippers, they're still very dangerous. You talk about him, Jamal Shed on the floor at the same time, they are completely locking up. If they could somehow get Jakob Poeltl's number in that deal and they could free up some additional numbers, Sandro just opted out. Maybe he comes back for a fair deal. We'll find out what happens there. But they got some guys. Emmanuel Quickley's going to come back. RJ Barrett's getting better. You add Kawhi to this, and it's him and Scotty Barnes floating around the wing, and they can get a big that can hold down the paint that replaces Jakob Poeltl. The Raptors could take the Knicks to 6 games in a series, I have no doubt about.
Yeah, I think, and to go along with the thought, Toronto would certainly be a contender in the Eastern Conference, but as we kind of go through the days here in the offseason of the NBA's year, it does feel like we continue to add more and more teams to that conversation. I've loved what Charlotte has done the last few days and the moves that they've made and bringing back veteran players with experience and shipping out LaMelo Ball and Miles Bridges. So they're losing a little talent, but I think they're getting back a more stable, serious collection of players, so Charlotte improving, Miami improving. You talked about Toronto. I liked what Atlanta was able to do last season. And that's without even talking about the top 4 teams in the conference from last season: Boston, Detroit, Cleveland, and New York, right? And New York wins the title. I would say the one thing, and I know I'm kind of laying out the entire Eastern Conference around this question, but isn't it interesting that we haven't heard a peep about the Philadelphia 76ers? All of these teams are trying to trade away pieces, redo their entire lineup, move off of stars that didn't get it done. And quietly, the Sixers are kind of just in the background. They haven't made any moves. So, Raj, to answer your question, I do think Toronto, if they were able to land Kawhi Leonard, I do think that they would be a contender in the Eastern Conference, yes.
All right, guys, let's go to the NFL, where the curious case of Brandon Ayuk continues to take turns over the weekend. It was, does he still have an agent? Did he fire the agent? Did he, file the paperwork correctly? We got people saying, look, this guy could wind up talking himself out of the league if he keeps posting these videos. So I ask you this question, Chris Bleck.
Yeah.
Brandon Ayuk will play this season for the Washington Commanders. He will play this season for any of the other 31 teams, or he will not play in the NFL at all this season. What do you say, Black?
Raj, I'm going with your last option, and I'm pretty sure I said this on Friday's show. I don't think Ayuk is going to play in the NFL this upcoming year. Like, he can go online and make videos all he wants, all day long, about how he's going back on tour, and you can get your tickets at commanders.com. Cool, dude. I have yet to see any rumors from the Commanders saying that they want Brandon Ayuk. And if you are the Commanders, why would you put up with that headache? Why? Because you're friends with Jaden Daniels? Is that the connection? That's the loose connection here into why he thinks he's going to Washington to play for the Commanders? I don't understand this scenario. Like, first of all, the 49ers don't have to do a thing, because what will happen is if Brandon Ayuk, when training camp starts, does not show up, the 49ers can fine him $50,000 a day that he does not show up. They don't have to do a damn thing. He can continue to say whatever he wants. You need to release me. You need to do this. I'm going to Washington. It's a done deal. Whatever he wants to say on his social media, it doesn't matter, because the 49ers don't have to budge. They could just wait for him to not show up at training camp and start fining him until he decides to do something. I don't know. I don't think there's something. I think there's something amiss with the whole situation. However you want to read into that. I don't know what it is. If there's substances being used, or if there's too many hits to the head, I don't know what's going on there. But there's something amiss with Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah, the entire saga is odd. If he ends up on the Commanders, I'm going to go buy a Netflix hat, and I'm going to start saying, hey, Sean Little Show starting on Netflix. February 1st.
Subscribe.
Be there. Make sure you're ready to watch it, and I'm just going to continue to make videos until the show starts. And I'm just going to bully Netflix into giving me a show.
Good luck.
So, yeah, if that happens and Brandon Ayuk suits up for the Commanders, I would be shocked. And I'm going to tell you, my opinion on the Niners is that is completely toast. They already tried to void his deal. I think there's something that's still being worked out on if they owe him the guaranteed amount of money that they promised when he signed, because of how he didn't take rehab seriously coming off the ACLs. The story with Ayuk is he was holding out trying to get a deal. He ends up getting a deal. He tears his ACL while he's not playing that well, and then completely just disconnected himself from the franchise.
Right.
Stopped picking up phone calls, just like acted as if he wasn't on the team anymore. So he's still under contract, but they don't want him, and they're trying to take money back from him, so he doesn't like that. And it's just it's a huge saga. But I will say there was a stretch where he was really, really good. But man, you blink in the NFL, and that was 4 years ago. I don't know what this guy looks like right now. I don't know what he would look like in the slot right now. So I would say, Raj, there's no way he plays for. He's not playing for the Niners. That's 100% positive. And I don't see how he talks his way to Washington. So the answer is none of those two teams.
I would watch the Sean Little Show on Netflix, though.
I would watch that too.
Black, if Brandon Ayuk is playing for the Commanders, I am going to Monday, I'm going to do Netflix. Tuesday, I'm going to do Amazon. Wednesday, I'm going to get all the hats. And
Apple?
Apple TV, everything.
You're just going to go buy hats. Well, I would watch the Sean Little show. Not a lot of people watched Supergirl over the weekend, the latest summer blockbuster to unequivocally bomb at the box office. This has been the summer blockbuster season of bombs. The Mandalorian bombed. Disclosure Day bombed. Masters of the Universe bombed. We've had one summer blockbuster perform, and that's been Toy Story 5, which continues to do well. So, Chris Bleck, my movie-loving friend, I ask you, when this fall rolls along and we go back and look at it, the king of the 2026 summer box office will be Toy Story 5, which is off to a good start, The Odyssey from Christopher Nolan, the Moana live-action movie with The Rock, Minions and Monsters, or Spider-Man Brand New Day. When it's all said and done, which one's making the most money, Black?
Oh, it's The Odyssey. The Odyssey from Nolan. He's the only director that doesn't need capes or cartoons to get it done. And even though it's a story that we've all read in high school or grade school or at some point in our lives, it doesn't matter. He'll find a way to have a clicking clock that will count down and force multiple scenes to be taking place at once in multiple different time frames, and it will be fantastic. I'm guessing The Odyssey with Christopher Nolan will be the movie that we all talk about looking back at this summer.
What was the first movie you said, Raj?
Sean wants to know, what's Supergirl?
I've never even heard of that. What's Supergirl? I've never heard of this movie ever.
I read it had like $100 million marketing campaign, and I don't even think it's going to make that back, like let alone its production cost.
Sean, she's a girl and she's super. She's like, isn't she? She's Superman's like
cousin, I think. It's Millie Adcock from House of the Dragon. She's the actress that they cast. Yes.
Yeah.
Supergirl.
But you didn't go see it. And guess what, Sean? Not a lot of other people did.
Yeah.
Yeah, the answer is The Odyssey for sure. The whole thing being shot in the 4K IMAX is very interesting to me. Extremely expensive, but man, Nolan, the storytelling is just immaculate. I suggest you go back and watch Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and cap that trilogy. It's awesome. It still stands up today. So you throw in Matt Damon, it's a must see, and I'll be there. You know that.
I love me Christopher Nolan, but this is going to be tough, guys. So if you remove Batman movies, Christopher Nolan's highest earning films are Inception, which did looks like $1.2 billion, and Oppenheimer, which did just over $1 billion. Toy Story 5 is trending to clear $1 billion, so it's going to have to be in that territory.
Yeah, I mean, Toy Story 5 is going to be in the conversation, no doubt, but those are going to be the top two movies, The Odyssey and Toy Story 5.
We're at Toy Story 5?
Yeah.
I know. Where have I been? I gotta have some kids. I would have known that if I had some kids. I gotta get with it.
Do not discount our web-slinging friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. He can pull some box office.
Yeah,
he might wind up having
there's
something to say here.
Superhero fatigue, Raj.
I think you might be right. I mean, Supergirl definitely hit that. But Spider-Man's kind of next level. I think he might be like immune to the superhero fatigue. Like people still.
He does have a brand new day. This is a new day for Spider-Man.
Brand new day.
Is it a new Spider-Man or just a new day?
Just a new day. Same Spider-Man.
Okay. Same Spider-Man. It's the Spider-Man that is with Zendaya, right?
Yeah, she's in it too.
Oh, that's right.
What's his name?
Holland.
What's Zendaya's husband's name?
Tom Holland.
Zendaya's husband. That's his name. That's his name.
Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Spider-Man.
It's Bleck Abdalla. Thank you, Raj. That was great.
For one-on-one. Thank you, fellas.
Well, what was the Rock movie that you mentioned?
That's the live-action Moana.
Oh, please.
The live-action Moana. Live-action Disney movies are super hit or miss. They either bomb or they make over $1 billion.
Trash. Bleck Abdalla, thank you, Raj. Appreciate it. Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports, sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Save on commercial auto insurance from Progressive. Get a fast quote at progressivecommercial.com. Speaking of movies, Mel Brooks turned 100 yesterday. I've got a question about comedies, all-time movies, coming up next.
U.S. men's national team has wrapped up group play. Up next, the round of 32 on Wednesday. How far can they go? Let's find out. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
Sean Little filling in for Abdalla this week. It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. You can call or text us at 310-840-4910. Yesterday, Mel Brooks turned 100 years old. Now, he's famously known for directing some of the best comedies of all time. Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein, Spaceballs. So, as I was, looking at Mel Brooks' career yesterday, I was thinking to myself, man, if I had to pick my 5 favorite comedies, it's tough to whittle it down to your list of 5 favorite comedies. So you can text the show at 310-840-4910. Sean, here's my list. My list goes like this. I'm going to go number 5, The 40-Year-Old Virgin. Number 4, Billy Madison. Number 3, Superbad. Number 2, Borat. And number 1, Dumb and Dumber. That's my list. That's my list. And I get it. This is very subjective. Everyone's going to have different taste, different things that they find funny. But I think that those are the 5 that span the majority of my life that I enjoyed those comedies the most. What do you have on your list?
I have Dumb and Dumber on here for sure. Number 5, Harlem Nights.
Okay.
I mean, this is a hilarious film. Richard Pryor is going to be on my list quite a bit.
Yeah.
My favorite. We're talking about Chappelle.
Yeah.
Richard Pryor. Those are the funniest guys. I think I've ever heard pick up a mic and just chat. So I'm a huge Richard Pryor fan. So number 5, Harlem Nights. Number 4, Coming to America.
Yeah.
Number 3, Friday.
Friday's great.
It's just a classic. And I love the comedies that have a little bit more substance in the comedy. Friday is more than a comedy. Phenomenal movie. Number 2 for me, Dumb and Dumber. And I put Coming to America on here twice.
Yeah.
Dumb and Dumber was number 2. Coming to America is number 1, and I meant to put Wedding Crashers in the other spot.
Got it. Got it. Yeah.
To recap, 5 Harlem Nights, 4 Wedding Crashers, 3 Friday, 2 Dumb and Dumber, 1 Coming to America.
You can text the show at 310-840-4910. Raj, what's your list? Favorite comedies of all time?
I had quite a few that you guys had on the list, so I adjusted it. At number 5, I'm going to go with Talladega Nights, The Ballad of Ricky Bobby.
Yes.
Which is a ridiculous name of a movie, just to say. All right, number 4, I am going to go with Deadpool. So I'm going to get a little comic book love in there.
All right. I see it.
Number 3, going to go with The Hangover, the original. The second and third ones were never made, as far as I'm concerned. Number 2 will be Superbad, which is my most quotable comedy movie. Still can quote that very, very frequently. And number 1, by far to me, my favorite comedy movie is Office Space.
Okay, Office, yes.
Yeah.
Raj, that was number 6 on my list. I know we only had 5 for this challenge, but that was the one that I was debating with putting on there because Office Space is fantastic. And I think and that's where we all have very different opinions on this, and you can text the show at 310-840-4910. What are your 5 favorite comedies you've ever seen? I do know one thing. Of the group that I selected, the one that had the most pop in the theater was Borat. There is nothing that I can ever remember like seeing Borat in the theater in the moment, because people were losing their minds during that film. So you can call or text the show, 310-840-4910. It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Will LeBron head to Golden State? We'll talk about that coming up next.
This is Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
That's right, Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app, Sirius XM channel 375. All of our great radio affiliates around the country. I'm Chris Bleck, joined by Sean Little today. He's in for Abdalla for the week as we hang out live from Chicago on the air until 3 Eastern. And then Jim Rome will take over right here on Westwood One Sports. You can call or text the show at 310-840-4910. We have some good texts coming in right now. We were talking about how yesterday Mel Brooks turned 100. And so throughout his career, he's acted in many great films. He's produced great films. He's directed great films. Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein, Spaceballs, legend, right? 100. First of all, that's insane to think about, getting to 100 overall. But the fact that his long career, I was thinking about some of the great movies that he has directed and starred in, and I was thinking to myself, like, what are my favorite comedies of all time? So I gave a list to you guys just moments ago. I had 40-Year-Old Virgin, Billy Madison, Superbad, Borat, and Dumb and Dumber. That's my list. I'm also a 41-year-old male, so like that's my wheelhouse. Those are my. And what did you have, Sean?
At Harlem Nights at 5, Wedding Crashers at 4, Friday at 3, Dumb and Dumber at 2. Number 1 is Coming to America.
Yeah, Coming to America. And Eddie Murphy is just so good.
Yeah.
Like I would also say, like, Beverly Hills Cop is one of my favorite movies.
Axel Foley?
I don't know if I would put that in the like, I understand it's comedy action, but I feel like I give more respect to his acting chops to just say that it's a comedic role, right? Because here's the thing about Beverly Hills Cop that I just appreciate so much, and it does not happen anymore, is that if you are a comedian and you're acting, everything is wild, big, and you have to make sure people know it's a joke. You go watch Axel Foley in Beverly Hills Cop, he is just naturally funny.
Yes.
So he doesn't have to do anything over the top. It's subtle. And that's what makes it so great.
And it's like throughout, he's just hilarious.
Throughout.
The whole character is, throughout, he's hilarious.
But he has moments where he's not being funny, but he's just being himself, and that is funny. And that's what makes that movie so great.
My first cell phone was a Kyocera with the blue screen.
Yeah.
And my first ringtone I ever had was bam, 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 bam.
It's so good.
Bam, 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 bam. So yeah, Axel Foley.
I love it.
Long live Eddie.
You can text the show at 310-840-4910. Derek in Baltimore texts the show. Here's his 5 comedies, no particular order, he says. He's going to go with Harlem Nights, 40-Year-Old Virgin, Bad Santa, Superbad, and Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh, that's a good one.
Robin Williams, Mrs. Doubtfire, that's
a good
pretty
one.
good. I think Doubtfire, we were talking about it here on the show a month ago or so. Like, that's a movie they would never attempt to make that today.
Absolutely not.
Right? Like the whole gimmick.
Is it even available to watch? You have to go like the black internet to.
Oh yeah. You can find Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah,
of course you can. But I know Roy is running the board and he's younger than both of us are. I'm sure like a movie like Mrs. Doubtfire would like blow his mind.
Yeah.
That like the concept. Yeah, right. Of that type of film. Good text from Derek in Baltimore. We go from Baltimore to the 208. Here's the list. Dumb and Dumber, Zoolander, and Blazing Saddles. So that's a Mel Brooks film. Chad in California, the 209. He texts the show. Tommy Boy, Ace Ventura.
Oh, Ace Ventura.
Tropic Thunder, Step Brothers, and The Big Lebowski.
Okay.
Good option.
Yeah, that's a good option.
I feel like we're covering a wide range of films, and of course there's no everyone finds everything different funny, right? So there's not like one specific.
It's always going to be a generational pull to it, of course. Yeah, no doubt.
I will say I do commend our listening audience that we have yet to get anyone to say Caddyshack, because that movie ain't funny.
You're not a Caddyshack fan,
dude. It's not that funny.
I haven't watched it in a long time, but
you should watch it. You're probably going to be like, oh really?
What is this?
Exactly. And I know there's probably someone who just got very upset.
For sure.
That a younger guy just said that Caddyshack isn't funny. I've said it before on the air. I'm saying it again. I'm not doing it for the clicks. It's just my opinion. You watch it. It ain't that.
It's not my real style of comedy either, but
yeah,
I haven't seen it in a long, long time.
We go to the 708, Dumb and Dumber, Tommy Boy, Borat, Wayne's World, Fear and Loathing. It's okay.
Wayne's World. Oh, yeah.
Those are also good.
Those are pretty good, too, yeah.
Those are also good. So keep the text coming at 310-840-4910. Your 5 favorite comedies, as Mel Brooks yesterday turned 100.
100 years old. He's been laughing 80 years in a row, probably.
Yeah.
He just keeps laughing, keeps living.
I feel like it was 20 years ago. Didn't he have a special, or he He was on like Seinfeld's Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, and they were like they didn't go for a drive. Seinfeld like sat in his living room because he didn't want to go anywhere.
Sure.
And he's still kicking. Yeah. He's still around. I mean, could you imagine getting to 100?
Just keep laughing, man.
By the way, Sean, Bleck has
comedy and you'll stay young.
Bleck's got an online death wish because he and Abdalla first picked on Oklahoma City Thunder fans all throughout the playoffs, and they're really fanatical, but they're not quite as fanatical as old fans of Caddyshack are. So going out and calling out Caddyshack is like walking right in the middle of Oklahoma City with a sign on, holding up a sign that says Shea's a flopper. Like, you just did the same thing, Bleck. You brought it on yourself.
It's not my first time. The opinion still holds. I dare anyone who's not of the age of the film to go watch it and tell me why or how that's funny.
Am I wrong that there's no comedy movie with a more passionate following than that one?
Oh yeah, no, you're right. Oh yeah, no, I know. I'm walking into the lion's den.
Yeah.
I'm well aware of this. I am spitting into the wind or doing something else into the wind. I understand.
You would have a less contentious debate walking up to Michael Jordan and saying LeBron James is better than you than going on national radio on Westwood One Sports and saying Caddyshack isn't all that funny.
I'm aware, and I understand the demographics of those who listen to a great program like this, and I probably very much so upset them today that I said that. But guess what? It's how I feel.
Dangerfield is funny, though.
He is funny, yes. Chevy Chase, funny.
Yeah.
Bill Murray, funny. The movie Caddyshack, not so much.
I'm a big Dangerfield guy.
Yeah,
I thought he was hilarious.
Of course. Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. You can call or text the show, 310-840-4910. We are following a big story in the NBA from earlier today. Draymond Green is opting out of his contract with the Golden State Warriors. Why is this important? Because now, essentially, Draymond is freeing up space for the Golden State Warriors, and by all reports, to then try and land LeBron James and also Anthony Davis in the Bay to play with Steph Curry and to also re-sign Draymond Green. So here's the report from earlier today. Shams Charania on ESPN. Golden State Warriors forward Draymond Green is declining his $27.7 million player option to become a free agent, sources tell ESPN. This move gives the Warriors flexibility to pursue LeBron James in free agency and to also try and trade for Anthony Davis to form a big four. Draymond would be included. Shams also goes on to say the opt-out comes days after the Warriors thought Draymond was expected to pick up his $27.7 million option. Instead, Draymond is now delivering Golden State time and space to pursue Davis with a trade with the Wizards and then to convince LeBron James to join Davis, Steph, and Draymond in San Francisco. So that's the latest information earlier today in the NBA as we await to see what and where LeBron James decides to go this summer. Yep.
Who is he?
LeBron James.
Will he build another super team?
Got to start with Superman. Man, I could have used him on the Cavs.
How many weeks will he stretch this?
Not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5.
LeBron Watch 2026 with Bleck and Abdalla.
The answer to the question everybody wants to know. LeBron, what's your decision?
In this fall, I'm going to take my talents to...
So yes, once again, I was thinking about this morning. Is you realize that we have gone through like 16 summers of the LeBron James, will he, won't he, opt in, opt out, force a trade, free agency. 2010 was the first time when he took his talents to South Beach. We've gone on 16 years of this back and forth. And even when he stayed in Los Angeles every year, it feels like he's held the franchise hostage at times. Well, I might opt out unless you do this. Well, my son's going to be in the draft. You better get little Bronny in here or else. This time around, Sean, take us through behind the scenes on what you think is going on, because for Draymond Green and the Warriors to think he was going to pick up his $27.7 million, which no one's giving that to Draymond on the open market, it would be wise for him to do that, to cash in. For him to opt out of that, there's got to be stuff behind the scenes working where Draymond knows that LeBron wants to go to San Francisco and play for the Warriors, and that he will be taken care of if he creates this space for LeBron.
LeBron being the focal point in the offseason is by design. I don't have the each contract in front of me, but I would go out on a limb and say LeBron James hasn't signed a deal longer than 2 years.
Oh,
and
it's been years.
It's been a decade plus, right? So that's he wants to be as nimble and flexible as possible. It's widely reported how he's the only guy in the NBA essentially right now left. Maybe Brad Beal still does that has a no trade. Like he's the only guy that has that. So he's controlled that. He always controls, where he's going to be playing basketball. Now, the behind the scenes of a lot of this stuff is when everyone's tied up agency wise. I wouldn't be shocked if there's a Draymond Green, LeBron James, Rich Paul group chat where they're like, hey, like if I opt out here, could we use this money to do this or do that? And they're like, let me check on that and I'll get back. Like as simple as that. So with Draymond being a part of the Clutch Sports Group that LeBron James is part of, him opting out of that deal, he's essentially saying, hey, I'll give up some money if you're serious about coming to Golden State. What it means to me is that this story has very real legs. Draymond Green doesn't opt out of that deal without LeBron James coming to Golden State. That's the only reason why he would give up that money. So I think this is a lot closer to the finish line than people are aware of, and we'll see how much credit we could give it here come this time tomorrow with free agency starting June 30th at 6 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, and I'm guessing you're right. Like it's clearly Clutch Sports and Rich Paul behind the scenes. They're both his clients, and isn't Anthony Davis one of their clients
Davis
as well?
Is also a Clutch guy. Yes.
So right, so Clutch Sports is really pulling the strings in the background. Which Sean, as we've talked about, in the last 10 plus years, there have been a lot of off seasons in the NBA where Clutch Sports and Rich Paul are the ones manipulating behind the scenes how this is going to play out from each season and getting LeBron to Cleveland, to get certain players to certain spots. That's kind of how it works. Now, what needs to be pointed out for Golden State to pull this off, they would have to trade Jimmy Butler to Washington. Now, we haven't really discussed that here on the show today. What that means for Washington, I don't know. I still don't, and I know it's a take from last week. I don't understand how you could go the day before drafting the number one player in the draft, AJ Debonsa, and having all of the great vibes that come with getting the number one player in the draft. I don't understand how you could pour cold water on the franchise by giving the contract they gave to Trae Young when you're setting yourself up to then land the number one player, but that's what they did. They gave Trae Young a big contract. So you have Trae Young, you have Debonsa, and if you remove Anthony Davis and bring back Jimmy Butler, I mean, I guess you have a team that's starting to turn into something. I'm guessing that's the case in Washington. If Debonsa turns into a superstar, yeah, you can compete. But I don't know if the net positive is greater getting Jimmy Butler back. Well, like, why would Washington do this outside of the fact that you can't rely on Anthony Davis? He's always hurt.
Very difficult to be 1 foot in and 1 foot out in the NBA. You either are adding talent and paying guys. If you think Trae Young can make an impact, that's a guy you would add. It's very difficult to do both and try to make sure AJ Debonsa is the focus. He's getting everything he needs. He's getting the ball. He's getting the looks that would make him into, hopefully, a top 5 player in the NBA in a couple years. It's very difficult to then also navigate Trae Young, and then now you want to potentially add a Jimmy Butler, which I don't think he would end up suiting up for Washington if that ends up being the case. But, yeah, you want to be we're all in here on AJ Debonsa. This is his franchise, and we're going to try to make things happen with him. You don't want to be 1 foot in, 1 foot out, especially with a guy as inefficient offensively as Trae Young has been for quite some years now. So, yes, I agree with you. It's a lot of navigating going on in Washington, and it's going to be a spectacle to see what happens.
Yeah, and so the latest and what we're keeping our eyes on is whether or not the Golden State Warriors can pull this off, and if they could pull this off and land LeBron James and Anthony Davis with Draymond re-signing and Stephen Curry with his final few years in a Warriors uniform, is this team even good enough to compete for a championship? I don't like when I think of this and I look at the Western Conference, San Antonio and Oklahoma City are so far above everyone else in the conference that I think it does need to be pointed out. Golden State won championships in the past. It's a different group. They were much younger. They were better. They had better role players. They were a much better team and a franchise. LeBron joining Golden State doesn't make them an automatic championship level team. They'll be must-see TV. The NBA will promote the hell out of them. No doubt. Like, they'll be on national TV a lot because they are still. And they missed the playoffs.
80 of 82, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it's I'm cool watching it, but I do feel like what we've entered into in the NBA is an era of depth and your homegrown talent leading the way. And Oklahoma City has done that. They won a championship last year, and they got to the conference finals this year. San Antonio gets to the finals. We saw it in the Eastern Conference. Detroit, they didn't win in the playoffs, but they had the best record in the Eastern Conference in the regular season. It just feels like that is the direction the league has kind of gone. And if you're going to try and collect and throw together stars, I just don't know how much you can actually accomplish with that group.
The only thing I will say that makes it interesting is the reason the league is going that way is because of the second apron. It's very difficult to just stack up a bunch of high-end guys at the top. You get into the second apron, you have no flexibility. You can't fill out the roster. Yeah. So you have to maneuver that way. Now, this is a very particular situation because now we're talking about guys that throughout their entire career have made 50. They're max guys. Regardless of what the number is, they've taken up big chunks of the cap. Is LeBron going to go to Golden State and take a lot less money? We have Draymond Green opting out of way more money. So, like, if we're talking about superstar guys that are going to take a lot less money, then it's a lot easier to create depth on the squad because you're not bumping into that second apron as easily as you would be if LeBron was making $55 million. So that's where the minutia in this gets very interesting because what if LeBron goes there for $22 million? Then it's like now you have Draymond Green and LeBron locked up for $30 million total, and now there's a lot more flexibility.
I agree with that thought process. You really think LeBron James is going to play on anything lower than the max?
Yeah, I think that's the question. I mean, that's what we've been talking about, right?
Will LeBron's ego allow him to do so?
I think if he's leaving the Lakers, I think he's saying that I'm open to taking less money because if it was just about stacking up as much cheese and not wanting to play with Steph, he would just stay in LA, sign his opt, continue to keep rolling.
Yeah.
I think maybe Steph Curry's the only guy.
It might be
that he would take less money. Maybe that's the answer.
Maybe Steph Curry, maybe Wembanyama, right? Like if Wemby was like, "Hey, come down here."
See, I think it's more than that. I think they have like a personal friendship relationship throughout the years where they like each other and they want to play ball.
It does feel like there's an element of he wants to stick it to the Lakers though, because they decided to kind of cater to Luka in the last year. And the stories have been reported by ESPN, Ramona Shelburne, and the wine dinner he wasn't included in, and the snubbing of he wanted a game ball after one of his milestones throughout the season. It does feel like LeBron's people want it out there that he hasn't been thrilled with the way that the Lakers treat him and his greatness. And so I get what you're saying. He'd be willing to do that to go play with Steph Curry because he doesn't have those vibes anymore with them. But if it was to stay in LA, he wants to take them for every dollar he could. He wants that to be his team. He doesn't want Luka to have the team.
There's no doubt the Lakers have moved on from LeBron being that number one priority. I really think it's as simple as a lot of these guys, like LeBron had a conversation drinking red wine with Steph, like, yo, you want to play?
Yeah.
Like, let's figure out a way to get this done. Like, all right, let's do it. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes I really think these situations are that simple, and they just want to have fun and enjoy themselves. And that's why LeBron has made sure he's able to opt out and control where he plays ball his entire career.
That's Sean Little. He's in for Abdalla this week. It's Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. We have the summer of football coming up next. We're going to rank the best offenses in the NFL, and we remove the quarterback and the offensive line. So it's like essentially a ranking of the offensive weapons around the NFL. So kind of think about which teams have the best weapons around the league, and we'll do that next. The second round of international soccer is now, and DraftKings has you covered for every single match. DraftKings app is now available in all 50 states, includes all markets, bringing the game straight to your fingertips wherever you are. New DraftKings customers sign up with code B&A26 and spend $5 to get $200 in rewards within 21 days. That's code B&A26 for Bleck and Abdalla 26. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Bet with DK Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER, 1-800-MY-RESET. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777. Visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, bet tax pass through may apply in Illinois, 21 plus, void in Canada. Event contract trading with DraftKings. Predictions involve risks of loss. Availability varies. Bet to get bonus bets that expire in 7 days. Trade to get $50 in prediction dollars that expire in 1 year. Issued every 7 days via click to claim for 21 days. One non-withdrawable reward redeemable. Predictions offer void in New York. Ends July 19th. Terms at dkng.co/audio.
NFL training camps open in 1 month. Yes, you're allowed to get excited.
All going through it together. Let's go.
It's almost time to pull that jersey out of the back of your closet. Here we go. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
Sean Little filling in for Abdalla this week. This is Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Each day here in the summer, we love talking football as we count down to kickoff and the start of the season with a segment we like to call the Summer of Football.
I proclaim this the summer of
Football!
What the hell's going on out here? We're going to be here all day, baby. I like this kind of party. Only Brett Favre could do that. I don't care what you say.
I'm just here so I won't get fined.
Just keep matriculating the ball down the field, boys.
We need a National Guard. We need as many men as you can spare because we are killing the Patriots.
The Summer of Football with Bleck and Abdalla.
I throw, you catch. It's not that hard, okay?
Westwood One Sports, your home for the NFL. We are 72 days away from the start of the NFL season. Patriots and Seahawks kick things off with the opener. 72 days away. The Summer of Football here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Today's feature here on the Summer of Football, ESPN has a list ranking the best offenses if you remove the quarterback and the offensive line. So which offenses around the NFL, this is from ESPN, they've got the list up there. Let's go to just the top 5. Who are the best offenses in removing offensive line play and quarterback play? So essentially, take the two most important parts of the offense, take them away, look at the weapons. Who has the best offenses around the National Football League? So this is what ESPN has on their list. At 5, they have San Francisco with Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Mike Evans, now with the 49ers. They're the 5th team on the list. At 4, you have Atlanta, Robinson, London, Pitts. At 3, you have the Bengals, Chase, Higgins, Chase Brown as the back. Number 2 on the list for the offenses, best offenses around the league when removing the quarterback or the offensive line. You have the LA Rams with Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, Kyron Williams. And then the number 1 team listed in the NFL as far as weapons goes, per ESPN, remove the quarterback and the offensive line. The Detroit Lions, Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Jamison Williams. So, Sean, if we look at the list, did ESPN get this right? Do the Lions have the best weapons in the NFL?
The funny thing is you take out the quarterback, take out the offensive line. I think you have to take out the coach, too, because that really changes a lot of stuff. Like, as you see, if you go look at this list, the Chicago Bears are down the list.
Yep.
And you throw Ben Johnson in that mix, and I'm telling you right now, they're going to go way towards the top because that's how important an offensive mind is when it comes to drawing up X's and O's and making things happen in the NFL. But yes, Jahmyr Gibbs is absolutely a freak of nature.
Oh, yeah.
He's so physical. I think we always talk about him being, shifty and top-end speed
guy. Yeah.
He's physical as well. So you then add Amon-Ra, who is, we talk about possession guys and not a burner, but has enough burn to go deep as well. He's been awesome for a while now. I love him. And Jameson Williams, even off the ACL a couple years ago, he's just a pure burner, stretch the field guy and has really good hands. So it's hard to argue with those three guys. I think if you could pick a running back, I think everyone outside of maybe Kyle Shanahan, because he's loyal to his boy McCaffrey, is picking Jahmyr Gibbs as their number one back.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. And I think when we look at the conversation of the best offenses in the NFL, when you look specifically at wide receiver, I think that's where in the top three, you have the Lions, the Rams, and the Bengals. I would put Rams-Bengals are going to be at the top of every list in regards to the weapons around the NFL. So I think whatever way you want to stack it up, Lions, Rams, Bengals, I think they're right. I think that's the key. Now, some notable teams that are ranked but a little bit lower. Kansas City comes in at number 20, which is a little surprising because I think most people kind of question their weapons now. But
I think that's too high.
Kenneth Walker,
we talked about
Travis Kelce, Rashid Rice. I mean, that's a team that I'm guessing most people would stack those weapons towards the bottom of the league. Some other teams with notable players and a ranking, the Broncos come in at 23. I would put the Broncos ahead of the Chiefs at 20. And then also like Buffalo. Buffalo on the list is at 28. I would put Buffalo ahead of Kansas City. Kansas City is too high on the list. That's my takeaway from it. I think the top of the board is right. I think Kansas City is getting too much love in the 20s.
I have been pounding the tape. When you have the quarterback position solidified, you need to backfill everything else every single year annually. And they have been giving Patrick Mahomes peanuts to try to go make things happen. They're asking too much of Patrick Mahomes. Hollywood Brown was a big-time addition. Rashee Rice, they're going into seasons. Rashee Rice is the number one option. Travis Kelce is pretty much toast overall when we're talking about top-end tight end play.
He's got a big week this week, though.
The biggest week. He's focused.
Or did it happen over the weekend? Is that what I saw?
No,
that people are gambling on different...
This coming week, I believe.
This coming week, and then they're going to have the big event next week or something over the holiday? I don't know. I just know New Yorkers are upset that Taylor Swift is shutting down the streets around Madison Square Garden for her ceremony, whatever is taking place.
Overall, what I'm getting at is he's being pulled in multiple different directions. Other guys aren't. And when you have a talent like Patrick Mahomes, go get some weapons. You know how good T. Higgins and Jamar Chase are to have the Cincinnati Bengals at 3 on this list with Chase Brown as the running back? Like, Chase Brown is solid, but they essentially have put themselves – this is a trio conversation, and they're at number 3 with a big-time duo, essentially. That's how good those guys are.
Yeah.
So go get Patrick Mahomes some guys, man, some studs.
Yeah, the thing that I notice about the list, right, is if you say, how do you structure your team and to have the ability to give a quarterback great weapons – I would have guessed that based on the money you have to spend for quarterbacks, that the teams towards the top of the board would all have quarterbacks on rookie deals. They don't. The teams at the top are not only all 3 of them title contending teams, Detroit, LA Rams, and Cincinnati. But with that said, they all have veteran big-time quarterbacks on big-time deals. This isn't Drake May on his rookie deal so the Patriots can stack all these weapons around him. You know what I'm saying, Sean? Like the fact that those 3 teams have vet quarterbacks who played for a long time and they can spend that money on a quarterback but then also have the weapons that they have just gives all the credit in the world to Detroit, to Los Angeles, and to Cincinnati for their ability to set their offenses up to try and win a championship.
It's the ultimate team game. You need help. Like, as great as Patrick Mahomes is, you need other guys that are going to be able to come on and make plays. One team that jumps off the screen on the list is the Arizona Cardinals. They have all the way at number 6. I find that absolutely astonishing. I understand Jeremiah Love is going to be one of those guys that is scheduled to be a difference maker immediately.
Well, a little early. That's a little early.
Out of college. But then, like, Marvin Harrison hasn't been a Justin Jefferson type guy. He's not. No. He hasn't been the guy that
he's got to prove it still.
Everyone's expecting him to be coming out of Ohio State. So that was an interesting one with them being at number 9. I guess Trey McBride gets a lot of that love because he's a stud.
No, you're right. That's
a little high for them to be in the top 10.
That's assuming a lot of things.
Yes.
Now, Jeremiah Love may be the best back in football next year. It could happen. I wouldn't be surprised.
No, don't say that. Take that back, Chris.
No, it could happen.
Jeremiah Love's not going to be the best running back in the NFL next year.
It's not out of the realm of possibilities that a rookie running back could be the best back in football.
He might get the most touches.
Yeah, touches, yards, touchdowns. It's possible.
I guess I'm mincing production versus just best overall back.
Yeah. I mean,
you know what I mean?
You're right. Like, it would be very surprising, but young running backs, you got to use them.
We just talked about Gibbs. We just talked about Bijan Robinson. Like,
you got to
those
use
guys,
them, right?
But yeah, he's going to get the ball quite a bit. Jeremiah Love, especially Jacoby Brissett, underrated year last year. By the way, he was actually really good. So we'll see what happens in Arizona. But for them to be number 9 jumped off the list for me.
So there we go. There's the best offenses around the National Football League. When you remove the quarterback and the offensive line, the two most important pieces, the weapons. When we look at the weapons, what are the best in the NFL? The summer of football, day 72. So we're counting down the days of the summer, and we head towards the opener, the Seahawks and the Patriots of the National Football League schedule. We were talking earlier that Mel Brooks turned 100 yesterday, and we were discussing some of our favorite movies or comedies of all time. You can text the show at 310-840-4910. Some good texts coming through. From the 901, I believe that's the Memphis area. Here's the list from the texter. Number 5, Anchorman. Number 4, Old School. Number 3, Blazing Saddles. Number 2, Naked Gun. And number 1, American Pie. That's a good texture. A lot of those movies we didn't even mention, like Old School, Anchorman. We didn't mention American Pie. American Pie was a
cult classic,
game changer.
Yeah,
for a young Chris Bleck in early years of high school, that was a game changer.
I was going to say that was our window. American Pie was our window for sure. People talked about apple pie in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, Shannon Elizabeth, I believe, is the actress in that film. Yes. From the 724, Half Baked needs to be on someone's list. I missed that.
Yeah, that's a miss.
You mentioned Chappelle earlier, and
that's a miss.
Half Baked is incredible. Let's see. From the 630, I don't know how Blazing Saddles wasn't on the list. Laugh out loud funny. Great commentary and the stupidity of racism. Yeah, I mean, Blazing Saddles, I don't know if you can necessarily make that today or parts of it you could make today, but it's an all-time classic and obviously a film that put Mel Brooks on the marquee.
We only had 5 slots. It starts to get tight. Starts to get tight up there. But yeah, Blazing Saddles, another rewatch. I've been big into just rewatching things I watched 6, 7, 8 years ago just because you're in a different part of your life. You're just seeing things a little differently. The movies and the shows take on a completely new concept. So, yeah, go rewatch. I'm going to go rewatch Blazing Saddles here soon.
208, text the show, Mark in Boise. Shout out Boise. He says Fletch, Caddyshack, Holy Grail, Step Brothers, and Spaceballs. Good selections as well. And I think a part of the conversation is like no one's going to have the same list. We all find different things funny. Oh, here's one that we didn't mention, Super Troopers.
Super Troopers.
That's from the 773. Super Troopers and Something About Mary. That's a great one.
Like even Rush Hour, like that and then that trilogy of, Rush Hour 1, Rush Hour 2, those were really, really funny and like cult classics at the time. I feel like someone should mention those at some point too.
Roy Lee producing the show in Culver City, California with Raj Sharon. Roy has Roy, what's your list? You have Rush Hour on your list, right?
Yep, I have Rush Hour on my list. I have Deadpool, even though I think some people wouldn't consider it
Rush had it. That's a good one.
I consider it a comedy. I don't mind. And then we have. Let me just look here. Superbad. Like I geeked out when you guys were mentioning that because that's like when I was like on the come up too. 21 Jump Street. That's also pretty funny. And then like that's my list. So Superbad is 1, Rush Hour 2, 21 Jump Street 3, The Hangover 4, and Free Guy 5.
Okay, so there you go. All right, Hangover was mentioned a couple times. Rush Hour is great. You're right.
Life. It's another one that was really,
Life is really good.
Really, really funny movie. Martin Lawrence and the gang.
Yes, absolutely.
There's a lot of good ones.
All right, so keep the text coming at 310-840-4910. Your 5 favorite comedies of all time. I have Dumb and Dumber as my number 1. I think that is definitely my favorite. I think the movie that I laughed out loud the most in the theater while seeing was Borat. So that's my number 2 on the list because that was a moment. If you were someone that was in a theater when Borat was out, that was a different thing. Like the pop culture phenomenon of people sitting together all laughing at the same time throughout the entire movie. It's something that I haven't experienced since, and so that's why.
The sketch comedy mixed in with the movie was something that not a lot of people were doing.
It was weird.
Yeah, it was different time and space. Yeah, it was pretty
weird.
Fun.
It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. We will update the latest in NBA free agency. Will Kawhi Leonard head to Toronto? We'll talk about that coming up next.
U.S. men's national team has wrapped up group play. Up next, the round of 32 on Wednesday. How far can they go? Let's find out. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will be in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
You can always check out the podcast of the show on Apple and Spotify. Make sure you like and subscribe to Bleck and Abdalla's show on YouTube. Thank you to Raj and Roy for producing today's show. Also, thank you to Sean filling in for Abdalla. He'll be here on Tuesday and Wednesday of this week as well as we hang out on Westwood One Sports. Jim Rome's coming up in 12 minutes right here on Westwood One Sports. So earlier today, there's conversations and rumors out there that Kawhi Leonard could be heading back to Toronto, and that if Kawhi Leonard was traded, the only place he'd be willing to sign a long-term deal would be with the Raptors. So, Sean, if we look at Kawhi Leonard, if this comes through and he is sent to Toronto, can Toronto be a title-contending team once again with Kawhi Leonard as their best player and the way that they're kind of built around Kawhi?
On the east side of the bracket, I absolutely believe so. As constructed, they took the Cleveland Cavaliers to 7 games. And, I mean, everyone has a different opinion on Harden, Mitchell, and the Cavs, but they're still a good basketball team. And for that Raptors squad to push them as hard as they did, I think did show something. If you're able to move out Jakob Poeltl, Brandon Ingram, and get those dollars off the books and add a guy like Kawhi Leonard, and he's willing. The key thing here, Bleck, is that him saying I'm willing to sign a long-term deal means, like, I'm not just here messing around and, like, kind of putting, like, a cap on my career. Like, I'm here to try to compete. Like, I'm going to be serious. So I think that means a lot when we're talking about to give up assets to go get Kawhi, and you're not worried about is he going to be locked in. Like, he seems like, hey, I want to come. I want to make an impact. And then when you talk about them being on the floor together with him, Scotty Barnes, Jamal Shedd, Colin Murray-Boyles, young, long defenders, they could really give some teams in the East trouble defensively. And we know offensively what Kawhi can do as well.
Yeah, and I think, you look at the Eastern Conference, you look at the landscape, and you look what Kawhi did last season after the trade deadline when the Clippers traded James Harden and put the basketball into Kawhi's hands. I mean, he had statistically one of his best seasons he's ever had in the league. So we'll keep our eyes on that story, and we'll see if Kawhi is shipped to Toronto and whether or not that's the only movement we see over the next 24 hours or so. Tomorrow, free agency starts in the NBA at 6 Eastern. So we'll have all day tomorrow to kind of break down this stuff. We'll see what happens, the latest with LeBron James. Is he heading to Golden State? Can the Warriors pull off a trade of Anthony Davis? And do the Wizards, if they do agree to that deal, do they then spin off Jimmy Butler? And is Butler a piece that's now available for teams trying to chase a championship? So we'll keep our eyes on that as we talk tomorrow here on Bleck and Abdalla, as Sean will be in for the next 2 days with me hanging out in for Abdalla. Something I saw over the weekend, which I got to be full transparency and honest with the audience. I'm not consuming the NHL draft. I'm not a big NHL draft guy, but I saw this over the weekend and I was like stunned by it. And I was also like curious. And I was like, all right, that's kind of cool. To start the NHL draft, Justin Bieber was out there and he announced the number 1 pick. Take a listen to this, I think from Friday night.
What's up, Toronto? What's going on, Buffalo?
He's walking through the different teams.
Man, what an incredible night. Oh, man, the child in me is ecstatic right now. I've been a Leafs fan since I was just a little boy, and these nights are so special. I'm so grateful to be here. But we got something to talk about right now. And if you follow me, what's going on, guys? How are you? What's going on, guys? How are you guys? Hey,
all right, get on with it, Bieber.
We got
Let's
something
go.
to share with you guys tonight.
Oh.
I don't know if am I supposed to come up right up here? Hey, how are
They
you?
didn't rehearse? What are they doing?
Good. Thanks for having me tonight. Yes, sir. I'm ready. Should I go for it? Mr. McKenna, we would like to draft you to the Toronto Maple Leafs.
So there you go. There's Justin Bieber, confused, walking through the NHL draft, doesn't know where to go. But Justin, yes.
What's up, Toronto?
Yes, he's just walking through.
I'm ready. Should I go for it?
Yeah, yes, go for it. We're all waiting for the pick. Is that cool or is that? I kind of think it's kind of cool. The NHL got Bieber to do that. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, his childhood squad gets the first pick. They got it's an instant connection. They can get him to come do it. I will say, you get drafted once, and I'm all about shortening guys' names. I call Caleb Williams Caleb.
Sure.
I call Giddy Josh Giddy. Like I don't say the full names, right? You gotta say the guy's full name when he's getting drafted.
When he's
number
drafted.
1. Well, he's like Johnny. Come on down. It's like what
are you talking about?
What's the guy's name? Like,
hey, how are you?
What easy Bieber? I mean, what the hell? Like, was he like? Do you see like a lady in the crowd?
Hey, how are you?
Yeah, someone waving at him.
He was giving some eyes. I mean, it was Haley not with him? Like, I don't understand. Wait,
I'm ready. Should I go for it?
Yes, go. Get it going. We're waiting to start the draft, Bieber. I will say for the NHL, that's a great get.
Yeah.
And credit to Bieber because he clearly knows puck. You know, you'd say knows ball, but he knows puck.
Yes.
So he was into it.
Well, you got to say Gavin
cool.
McKenna. You have to say the whole thing.
You have to say the whole name.
Give him that. You got to give him the whole name.
Here, I got a whole name. Jim Rome. And he's coming up next right here on Westwood One Sports.
Hey, how are you?
This is Westwood One Sports.